We're back! We live! It takes more than some simple technical issues to sync us here at the LJLOU. Maybe my tongue slips can sync us a little bit faster than the technical issues can, and we've missed some action here, Melvin. It's 3-3 in the scoreline, and we see Yone, the beneficiary of one of those, already picking up the Zeal. So definitely going to be a big explosive game out from the Yone. Once you start that snowball rolling, it's pretty hard to push it back up the mountain.
Yeah, and to give a minor bit of context from what I was able to catch of how this ended up happening, it was CGA making some plays onto the bottom lane and putting the Sengoku bot lane behind, but after an overzealous dives, the kill lead has been evened up. It's still a minor gold and dragon lead over to CGA, but at the end of the day, it's not massive. You can see, though, that Hybrid and Nemo are getting the better end of this bot matchup, which is something we were very curious to see if it'd be the case.
Yeah, and it speaks highly to CGA, who have been called a bit of a coin flip team as we have an engage here, but the Glacial Augment under the turret. Can the Nautilus actually survive? No, there's no way, there's no how, but maybe Honey can answer one back, but that explosive charge is just not going to do enough. Getting chased down, getting knocked out by the horse. Clip clopping all over that little Yordle's face, and now it is a 5-3 lead for CGA. They are going to continue to extend that bot lane lead, and we were sort of looking around that bot lane, right? Can Hybrid unfettered in this game? Can the solo lanes pick some winning matchups and survive long enough to get to that late game where Hybrid is so reliably a carry? And they didn't even have to, because Hybrid and Nemo have been able to just push the envelope, and a team that has been called kind of coin flippy, just finding some nice consistent performance from their big consistent carry down there in that bottom lane.
And it feels like I curse this team in one way or another. Sengoku just refuses to work when I'm watching. I knew this had happened. When I came back and I was getting the prep all ready to go, we're trying to fill in what's happened in the split, and I see that Sengoku are at the top. I'm like, oh great, finally. I knew that this team would work. I thought that it was really cool having Honey on it too. And of course, this is what we get. We'll see if this is just a slump in the early game, or if this is going to be a trend throughout the rest of the game, but our biggest win con for CGA was get Cassette ahead and work with the laners, and that is what's happening. I'm a little worried.
Yeah, things going to the script so far. Somebody going to have to call the teams and tell them to make it look a little less obvious. Those PayPal donations coming in to get them to follow the script. But yeah, it is going to be that little bit of a gold lead coming out for CGA so far. Plenty of game yet to be played with just that first Cloud Drake in their pocket and this Ocean Dragon yet to hit the Rift in about 30 seconds. I'm curious to see who will cede priority around this one. You would have to think that with Honey and Enti being put pretty far behind, they're not going to play too hard for the second Ocean Drake. They're going to try and stall out a little bit. How do you feel on the Tristana versus Xayah late game scaling matchup? Because they're both thought to scale pretty well. Can you sort of take your foot off the gas as Sengoku in this situation and say, well, play safe, play for late? Or is it maybe just too late on that front?
I think that changing gears is a good way forward, because at the end of the day, the Tristana can outrange the Xayah as the game goes on, but that's not your issue. For a late game Tristana, you have to deal with a Syndra, you have to deal with an Akali, you have to deal with a Hecarim, and even to a lesser extent the Leona. So I don't think this game gets any easier for Honey, even with the cleanse. This I like though. Feed Paz, they can actually answer this Syndra and this Xayah if you can get them ahead off of this play.
Yeah, and it looks like, oh no, Nap using that perfect execution to perfectly get themselves out of dodge. But I quite like what Sengoku is showing here, right? We have lots of teams in this region who will show up to objective fights they have no business showing up to, and instead Sengoku says, we can't contest for this dragon. We've been put so far behind in the bot side. Let's make a cross map. Let's bring multiple members up, take that Herald to the turret, and things have maintained in, a relative equilibrium here. It's still about 2K, the gold lead for Crest Gaming, but it hasn't exploded because you've lost an ill-gotten team fight or an ill-taken team fight around the Dragon Pit when you had no business being there. So I do like to see that bit of restraint coming out from Sengoku.
And I suppose that the question should then be, how is CGA going to continue to accelerate this game? Because they do have the Hecarim and the Leona, who are exceptionally good divers. especially the Akali as well, once they pick up that Riftmaker and start to get a bit more damage under belt, they're going to be a massive nuisance. I will give credit over to Paz, though, that this matchup is meant to go Akali's way after I believe it is something like the level 6 mark, and it hasn't seemed to swing yet.
Yeah, we might actually have a pick out. This could be the shutdown as the Featherstorm comes out, but no, Hybrid, you flash with the Ignite will not take you down! You madman! You live! Is now Nemo going over the wall as well, and it's Sin who's been left in no man's land, but he finds one back. Can you actually do it onto once? The Onslaught of Shadows will fear him up. The Red Buff will take him out. And he flashing the Scatter of the Weak. He gets that Scuttle Crab relic buff to run away. I can't believe CGA turned that one around. Hybrid perfectly calculating his very last drop of health there.
Oh my goodness, that fight was ridiculous. And now you get the priority up at this top lane. It's not going to result in any big objectives, but I want to look at the minutiae of this play. It looks so good from Jet and Enti. You get the massive wombo combo onto 2, but because of the Yone ult pulls slightly, you actually see that once hit the Q onto the Leona, not the Xayah. Hybrid would be dead in this situation, then they could all turn damage. Watch this right here, though. When Jet snaps back, he's killed because Kassin times the Q to reap him in midair, chopping them down. And once again, the confidence from Kassin, they actually face away knowing they'll get him with this Q, and then chase down into Enti. While they aren't able to pick that up, it's still a massively favoured play for CGA, with all of the resources going on the main man in the jungle.
It was such a close series of plays. The margins were so tight there, but Kassin for sure putting on a clinic to get it done. As we see the turret plates taken are about equal, so no big advantage gained either way there. But I think Middlecott will be happy to know that the coin has appeared to land head side up, at least today for CGA. They seem to be playing at their limits, especially Kassin, definitely showing off and having a great time so far. The 3k gold lead will be the result of that. 2 dragons in the back pocket as well, with the Mountain Soul to be played for. But we can't get complacent about CGA's lead. That looked to be a good pick out until just a couple of narrow things went wrong for Sengoku. So I'm sure there's still room for them to come back here. I'm just not quite sure where it would be. What do you think is sort of the they could take back up the mountain, so to speak?
Well, the thing is, bounties have just become enabled, so for me, it's about trying to play a wide map right here and fight with minor leads, like 2-on-1, 3-on-2, these kind of numbers. You don't want to take a fair fight against CGA because their wallets are too superior, particularly if Kassin is there. If you can just fight onto Nap with 2 people, or just fight onto the bot lane like we had there with 3, those are the fights I need to keep seeing. If you let the tempo slip away now, CGA with this Rift Herald, with the Baron spawning in 4 minutes, will be able to threaten a very clean endgame, which is worrying. You need to keep the game scrappy, and the fact that CGA are going to pick up this Herald means that they're likely going to be able to just chuck it down mid, get that Prior for Dragon, and then suddenly we're 5 minutes away from the Mountain Soul, which is going to pretty much turn Sengoku off this game, versus the Baron, which also would turn Sengoku off this game. So they need to look for something ASAP.
Yeah, they cannot afford to wait, as it's just 15 seconds before this Mountain Drake does emerge onto Summoner's Rift and present himself for the taking by one of these teams. And there's not a lot of deep vision in the enemy jungle. In fact, none at all right now for Crest Gaming. That is one bit of comfort that Sengoku can take. But securing the mid lane priority allows Nemo to move up, get that stealth ward down, and now they will kite towards the side they have vision on. Paz hovering around the back of the wall, Enti and Honey swinging around, but can they win a fair fight around the Drake? The mid laners are not present. Cassini's too good. He smites it away. He will not lose the burger flip.
Valiant attempt from once, but it was really well done, like you say, from CGA, blocking any access for the Lee Q to hit the dragon. It just became raw smite versus smite plus Hecarim Q. Kassin now chucking down that Rift Herald. Enti,
I don't think you wanted to take that dredge line, buddy, as the TP is the immediate response. The Herald will crash. Jet trying to find something onto Kaido here will get a lot of damage out. The Echo out from that Soul Unbound E will do even more in the back end of the trade. So Kaido found out, but not under any real threat there. Things maintain the status quo, and that status quo for the past few minutes has been that 3k gold lead. And now there's a soul point as well. He's creeping around onto Honey, the Solar Flare, into the immediate cleanse. They actually answer one back. That is Nemo falling. They get the tier 1, but Nap, can you find your way out? No, you cannot. You have fallen. So that is 2-0, except the tier 1 turret in mid lane, which is a pretty important turret to take. But signs of life from Sengoku.
Thing is, you don't kill anybody with a shutdown. I don't think Nemo had one, but everybody else that is still alive does. So yes, you're going to be happy with that, Sengoku, but the thing is, it unlocks the map more, and we've talked so much about CJ having amazing pick potential with this Syndrome, with the Leona, etc. It was a really good kick by once, though. I will definitely give them that. As we see now, the wide map is starting to happen again. 1-3-1, Sengoku wants to be looking for, because we saw up in the side lane there that it was actually Jet doing very well. But keep your eye on once here. This kick is so good and so important for stopping it just being a decisive dive into taking a second tower. And the thing is about how this is played, it's just CGA going too far, and when they don't get the initial kill, and Kassin is suddenly in no man's land, they have to decide, do we escort the Hecarim out and finish the tower, or do we commit to the fight? They go for the first answer, which I think was the safer one, keeps them still in the driving seat, but maintaining that 2k gold lead. Not much else beyond the mountain soul point for them that is really defining the difference this game.
Nemo has gone so deep to try and pick out Jet, but now he will be the one who is knocked up and knocked around. Now the fate sealed across multiple members. Damage is pretty good. Empty is here on the flank. The Glacial Augment out. Honey free hitting. Kassin can't quite get on him. That's 2 down. That's Hybrid over the wall. But can they answer back one? Yes, they can. Now Kassin ticking so low, the horse will have to gallop away, but the Resonating Strike does connect. Once will take it. The Sonic Wave forward. That is just going to be his death. The result, though, and Honey will get kited out by Hybrid. He backs it up. Once again, he's styling in this game. Every time you think you have this guy, he just gets away. And now Nap has found Jet. He's sitting on that Q2, but he just tries to find some sort of escape with it, trying to sustain off the lane. But Kassin doesn't want to have that. Dodges out. We'll get the damage down. We'll find the kill for Nap. PGA somehow turning around the most dire situations again.
Heart-wrenching. This is heart-wrenching to watch. And it all starts from Nemo overextending. But keep your eye on the right here. It's actually the bot lane from Sengoku that really closes off all the options here for CGA. This is a great just glacial path right here that is put down by Enti to seal off any escape. But the Flash is committed to get out. Very good timing on the Xayah E. And watch this. It's actually Kassin dodging, and so the Resonating Strike hits the Xayah. But because the Exhausters come through, not enough damage for them to finish anybody. And this hurts me. This hurts. Honey doesn't get the last auto attack to blow off the bomb, because if they do, then they get to jump onto Hybrid. Both dies. The game is just back in Sengoku's favor. And then Jet, they're trapped in no man's land. Oh, it's a horror show. It's exactly what I expected from Sengoku, but I never wanted to imagine.
Yeah, this is a big match in terms of standing implications of what as well. We have to note these two teams will be tied in the standings, and it sort of muddies the picture. We've hoped with DFM looking so dominant, somebody could rise above the throng, rise through the soup to the surface to pose themselves as the big challengers, whether that would be Sengoku or Rascal Jester. But CGA picking up the win here sort of starts to dampen that image that we might have of Sengoku as the prodigal son, of the platonic ideal of a challenger to DFM. It just sort of muddies the picture below DFM even more, as Jet will answer back at tier 2. That's pretty big. A big old gold pinata are those tier 2s. A nice little cash infusion for the Yone. But the lead remains more or less stagnant here, and with 15 seconds to go on the Soul Drake for CGA, I think they are bing chilling here, Melvin.
I like this. I like this a lot. When you do have the Yone and an ADC, you can always threaten the Baron. I think this is something you need to be doing. CGA committed so much to just getting onto that bottom side, but you can see Sengoku still has wards scattered around, so they know when CGA are actually trying to set up around the objective. Now, everybody's pretty much out of vision at this point in the game. A lot of lurking around, no perfect information for either team, as it looks like CGA have won this maneuver right here. They are going to be able to get onto this soul point for free. I think that it is just completely skilled. There's nothing that Sengoku can do, and they do not even get to capture the Baron. This is going to get very rough, because every fight up to this point that has looked Sengoku favored has ended with a CGA member being, 100, 200, a sliver of HP. That Mountain Soul adds even more buffer room, so you do not get that reliability of finishing the fight. I think that Sengoku are going to be in a completely dire position right here. If Paz doesn't get something ridiculous done on the side lane, or if we don't see Jet getting a miracle ultimate, this game should be cut and dry for CGA.
Yeah, they have all the advantage to play through as of right now, and Kassin has been the forefront of it all. Now this Baron is the big objective left on the map. We should point out, of course, there are objective bounties yet to be taken to sort of equalize the gold side of things for Sengoku, especially on that Baron, but it's going to be so hard to find an angle. You had your best chance to try and take a cross map there as the Soul Dragon spawned, and now it can sort of feel paralytic, right, for Sengoku, stuck between a rock and a hard place here, as once we'll just mosey on up to that river to try and get a little bit of forward vision down. But Nemo going to have a lot of free room moving together with Kassin as this two-man unit to clear some of this out. And it's just sort of waiting for that other shoe to drop. If you're Sengoku, you don't want to be too testy, you don't want to be too forward. They're moving towards the pit. Pink is here, once we'll have to clear it out, but I think CGA is more than ready to take this challenge on.
Oh, it's dangerous. You don't ever want to get picked off there as the jungler. Do actually have the Maw coming out from once over here, so they do survive the burst from the solo lane as a CGA, but if it's ever the Hecarim or the Xayah onto them, then they are going to melt. As once again, playing a wide map, Sengoku need to keep doing this. They need to play these guerrilla tactics because you can't get in a straight up 5v5 with CGA if you do not have a miracle engage to start it off. It was actually this kind of position earlier on that we saw. It was Jet and NT have continuously made plays with their ultimates over here. If we could get more of that kind of action, that's how you could get back in the game. You do have pick tools, and you're talking about pinatas in the towers. Look at Hybrid. They are just walking around with 1,000 gold hanging from their pocket. This is the person you need to be looking for, but it's a Xayah with Gale Force stopwatch.
There's just so many defensive tools for Hybrid, who has looked so untouchable in this game. Every time they were near the edge of that dark abyss, just able to pull it back and look so stylish while doing it. It really does feel like a tall task. Thankfully, though, as you point out, Sengoku has been able to sort of cast a wide net, get waves pushed out, and retreat without getting picked off in the side lane. It's so hard to play from behind, and especially when you're trying to cover so much distance with so little map control, to not overexpose yourselves. But they haven't given away lots of free picks since that early game has sort of moved out of lane phase and into this more free roaming style for them. So that is something to be commended. It's just the team fights have not been going their way when they've been trying to make these aggressive pickouts. The turnaround from CGA has been very, very good as we've sort of entered the lull state here. These teams seem to be happy to just handshake and ping pong waves for now. I'd like to see CGA threaten this Baron a little bit more here.
The ward that Sengoku is just lurking on is getting so much value. Here's the TP.
Yeah, they listened to me. They have gone right on in. Paz into the stopwatch now. Jet snapping all the way back right into Naps. Waiting arms. The shield bow proc now into the stopwatch. It will be Paz to fall. It will be Jet right on next, who's ticking down. No, not quite. He flashes out the shield from once on the Lee Sin, but it's not enough. You can't escape the ninja. Akali takes him down, and now CGA will finally claim the prize they've been dancing around for so long. Over to the Baron they go, going to be suiting themselves up with that purple tuxedo.
And it's so important to do this now, because the Elder is going to be spawned. There we go, we just get the timer pop up in 2 minutes time. So this Baron will carry over throughout that duration. And it was all off of this one ward. Look where Paz and Once are. They know, CGA know exactly where Sengoku are, so there is no risk for Nemo doing this. He's very tanky with the Aftershock, no Glacial Gaming here. The follow-up 3-person Fear. Honey does a nice bit of repositioning to try and back up their mid laner in Jet. But it doesn't do anything. Look at this combo. It's just too much for Sengoku to handle, and they're left running. And at this point, it's beyond dire. You don't get the option for a wombo combo because you're behind in gold, you can't get your vision coverage, and that was where it fell apart. If you are sitting on a ward, it's just a pick comp, guys! There's a Syndra and a Leona. That's the best thing in the world for them. If you are on a ward and they know it, you die.
Yeah, and Paz sort of serving up his entire team as that Zenith Blade followed him so well into the heart of multiple members. This first inhib will be cracked in the mid lane once connects on that Sonic Wave, but I don't think he wants to take the Resonating Strike as Nemo is unflustered and unbothered. So much control around this red quadrant jungle for Son Goku. for the side of CGA to get lots of vision down ahead of the Elder, have so much control, and just feel really, really comfortable. And you have to see Sengoku just sort of group up and buddy system this. They cannot move independently, or they will just get picked out over and over again. Trying to threaten some mid lane priority, trying to threaten this tier 1, but look at the members they have here. Nap and Kaido going to be more than enough to get rid of that minion wave, and with their Baron threaten oh so much in return. And 12 seconds to go on this Elder buff. Sengoku getting getting
worried.
some of those wards out. There's one deep stop.
Look at stopwatches. Keep an eye on stopwatches right here. This is what we need to see, because when the Elder goes down, whichever team has it, one of the few ways you can avoid that laser beam is going into a stopwatch. So keep your eyes right now. I believe it was 3 of the members of CGA, top, mid, and potentially ADC as well. I haven't seen them use it. Keep your eyes out right now. See if Vods can get the steal.
Yeah, Paz is positioning, gesturing, bluffing a little bit perhaps. Jet has the deep flank, but I do believe they know they're there. Kassin moving up. Nap taking that shuriken flip backwards. The Solar Flare not going to find the sun, but will find the slow. The Fate Sealed is going to be blocked off. No escape for Jet, but is it the Hecarim who maybe overextend Kassin, ticking oh so low? But Nemo in the end is the one who collects it. Now Nap taking that shuriken flip back in. Anti is so thin, so untanky with this Glacial Augment Nautilus, but he escaped. Honey escapes once, and Paz now left to dance around the dragon all over again, but I don't think that's a dance they can afford to take right now. Hybrid chasing through, chasing them off, getting these feathers down into the circle of Paz, going to find the kill. No fear with that gale force, and now this Elder buff is wide open. The hunting licenses have been acquired, and they are ready to strap a laser beam dragon to the hood of their car.
And there's
Is that
no
too
way
American
to get in.
of a reference for our
You know, I liked it still, but I don't think that there's much that can be done to stop that laser beam car, because once, like you see, they're getting denied away from Nap. This is going to be the Elder. This should be the game. I know it's CGA, but come on now. There's not much you can really do to lose from this position.
Double
You've
Uber
got-
buffs.
Oh, it's disgusting. Like, the Baron will wear off, but you've already done the damage you need. You broke open the base. You actually have a decent siege with the Syndra, and the fact you can dive with so many members, so there's not much you can really do from Sengoku. And look at this, it was actually the pivot. They baited out the dragon, and it was just a tag from the ultimate. Getting in the way there means that there's no way for Jet to escape, and this was Kassin buying a lot of time, and then just retreating to their team, because you have so much area control. Your allies can just zone off so hard, and it's very close right here. Sengoku get out pretty much as low as you can get, you know, finally getting lucky in this game for once, but isn't going to be enough as now they just need to avoid CGA. There is no way you can take a good fight at this point.
Yeah, the lane assignment as it stands, it will be Nap in that mid lane with the supers, and the rest of the CGA squad up here pushing down another tier 2, just continuing to balloon this gold lead that is standing at about 8k right now. And it just feels so passive for the side of Sengoku, but what can they really do here? They have to watch their base just sort of crumble in front of them, as Nemo has no reservations about stepping forward and looking for the aggressive Zenith Blade. This will be another inhib ticking down in just a moment. 2 lanes of supers now soon to be streaming on down. They're on to the Nexus turrets. The Solar Flare does not connect, but the Sonic Wave does. Where can the moment be found once? Can you do anything here? It will be Nexus turret number 1 already out. Sengoku, you can't just sit passively and wait for your deaths to kick back. Nap, though, is not the target that you can really pick out. So much mobility, so much capability to escape, because Sin will fall in the end, but the second Nexus turret will be the trade. Now Jet into the GA, but no escape. Just a delaying of the inevitable. Let's look at Nap going so deep under the fountain, then going golden hybrid. Can you find the execute? They're just playing with their food. The Nexus will fall so shortly. Wow, hybrid really just wants to continue to style here, but you're not going to find it. You will find the win, however, to tie up the standings. CGA and SG